Okay, so we should be recording now. So I appreciate you all being on the call today. Feel free at any point if you want to chime in and say something, feel free to interrupt me at any point. Also, we can use the chat. I've got some colleagues that are watching the chat today to help me out. So if you have some comments or suggestions or questions, you can feel free to put those in the chat as well. And also, I would invite everyone to just say a little greeting on the chat. Just let us know, which stakeholder group you're in. If you're a member of the SLT, the state leadership team, or if you're on the workforce development or higher education or early childhood stakeholder group or the K-12 collaborator group, just let everybody know, which you participate in and a little bit about yourself if you want to add that in. That'd be great. Let me just go ahead and see if I can advance my slide, show you just a little quick agenda for today. Just wanted to do our introductions in the chat real quick. And then also just want to go over our project's vision and a quick overview again of the project. I know a lot of you are probably participating in the technical assistance through the National AEM Center. So you probably got a pretty good idea of what the project's about by now, but I want to go over that again as well for those of you who just need a quick reminder on the different things we're working on. And then we'll review the work that we've done so far, and then so a quick summary, and maybe have a report out from anyone in the stakeholder groups that would want to talk about your quarterly technical assistance meetings with the National AEM Center, if anyone would like to report out on that, and then we'll conclude. So real quick, I'd like to just go over the project's vision statement. And I've told some other groups, I'm pretty proud of this vision statement now. David Baker with Missouri Assistive Technology, I think he really helped to refine this vision statement when our state leadership team was meeting. And so our vision is as follows. Missouri students, teachers, and parents will be able to access, acquire, create, and implement AEM. And so really that takes in a lot of information, because not only will they be able to locate it, find it, access it, but they'll be able to acquire it. And in some cases, they'll actually need to create it. So we know that our teachers, K through 12, sometimes they're not going to have an accessible format that they need, and they're actually going to have to find a way to create it, or maybe they can find it online, but some way they're going to need to do that and then be able to implement it to make sure that the students can use it with their, if they need assistive technology, how are they going to be able to use that accessible educational material that the teacher may have even created. So we're really proud of that vision statement, and I just wanted to share that with everybody and just let you know that we have that as well as our plan that I'll talk about just a little bit here briefly coming up. So I wanted to go over the definition of accessible educational materials, or AEM. They can be print and technology-based educational materials used throughout the curriculum, and including print and electronic textbooks and related core materials and technologies that are designed or enhanced in a way that makes them usable across the widest range of learner variability, regardless of format or features. So it can be all different types of formats, digital, websites, apps, can be print, digital, graphic, audio, or video. And of course, the examples could be textbooks, digital documents, websites, apps, learning delivery systems, and electronic devices. So it takes a lot in. And we want to be able to utilize evidence-based practices to increase access for learners of all ages and in all classrooms, whether general ed or special ed, as well as early childhood, higher ed, and workforce development. And then I'll just briefly show you our Cohort States. For those of you, just as a quick reminder, the current AEM national cohort that we're a member of is outlined here in orange. So you see Missouri, Oklahoma, Oregon, Georgia, North Carolina, West Virginia, and New Hampshire. So these 7 states are the current cohort. We meet, I guess, on a bi-monthly basis with all of our cohort states in the National AEM Center to share best practices. And then we meet with the state leadership team. Will meet with the National AEM Center on a monthly basis to go over our progress and receive that intensive technical assistance on our project. And then in this map as well in white are the first cohort, the previous cohort, and that takes in Alaska, Texas, Florida, Minnesota, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, and Maryland. So they were prior AEM states prior to 2020. And then just as a quick reminder on our state leadership team, I wanted to show everybody the organizations and agencies that are represented on our state leadership team. So that includes, of course, DESE, Office of Special Education, Impact, which is our parent act, so representing parents, and MOCASE for special ed and the K-12 arena organization that represents those folks. And then our South Central Regional Professional Development Center is represented, as well as, of course, our 3 districts that are members and are helping us by setting up their district teams now. We'll get into that a little bit later, but we've got 3 districts that help us. And then, of course, Missouri Assistive Technology. David Baker is on our state leadership team from MOAT. And also, again, I'll just mention the AEM, the quality indicators. There's 7 quality indicators that the National AEM Center has identified. And of course, they've got a wide range of detailed information about each one of these. And I won't try to get into all of the quality indicators, but I'll just read through these real quick. The first is a coordinated provision system. So provisioning, how do you obtain the accessible educational materials? And what goes into that, whether you have to purchase it. Provision in a timely manner to make sure that all the students receive their educational materials at the same time as their peers. Third, written guidelines. How do districts and the state DESE, how do we provide written guidelines for individuals as far as, districts or teachers? How do they know what is expected? Learning opportunities and technical assistance, providing those ongoing. And that's something that right now we're focusing on pretty heavily on our project. And then 5th is data collection, 6th is data use, and finally is resource allocation. So how do we allocate all of our resources to make sure that we do the best we can with the resources that we have to ensure quality, accessible educational materials for all of our K-12 students. So real quick, some of our initial project goals for this project here in the school year. First was ensuring all students have timely access to AEM, and that's right out of the 7 quality indicators. That was one of the things that we selected to work on initially to help ensure. Second is increasing the AEM knowledge and learning opportunities for our districts primarily, and those teachers that need to be able to be frontline to provide the accessible educational materials. So what we are looking to be able to do is to provide easy to access brief training tutorials for district staff. And so that's really what we are trying to accomplish right now, is to try to get that started. And I just recently saw some real interesting things on this front from Georgia. They've got interesting video that they just put out. It's a little longer than what we were planning on doing, but I think it takes in some of the very topics and subjects and approaches it similar to what we were doing. So I think a lot of the states are kind of on the same track, and a lot of them are looking at the same types of things. So hopefully we'll be able to learn and gather information from some of our cohort states. So we're excited about that. And then third there, ensure effective resource allocation. So that's another thing we want to look at, how to allocate our resources, leverage existing resources to deliver the AEM training and professional development. So those are 3 major priorities. We've got a really long plan that we have out on our website. If anybody ever wants to see that, you can feel free to contact me. I can send you a direct link to that if you want to take a look at our long 4-year plan. And here's some quick objectives of how we want to meet those goals for 2022 upcoming. We want to maintain the active district cross-functional teams. So right now, our districts are in process for selecting their cross-functional teams that will be in their districts. So our 3 districts, they each have a district lead. So the leads will be selecting individuals from their district to participate with them over the lifespan of this project. And let me see if I've got a list of, I might have to say it off of memory, but there's several different folks from our special ed directors are the project or the district lead. They can select, general ed, their technology staff. They can select from, different folks throughout the district. They can select somebody who works in purchasing. They can select occupational physical therapist, a lot of different groups they can choose from to make their team. And these are just really small teams in their district. They don't have to be really big. Next is what we want to do, and our objective is to provide an in-person convening for our district teams. So the way we've selected to go about this is we're going to bring all of our district team members together in January at our Powerful Learning Conference that's provided and sponsored by DESE. That's down at the lake at Tantera on January 24th and 25th. And so our teams should all be attending that conference, and David Baker's got a presentation on AEM at that conference. And then following the conference, we'll meet up and bring all of our teams together to meet with them for the first time, to actually get to meet the new team members that have been selected by their leads on the state leadership team. Next, we want to solicit feedback from district teams on their AEM needs. And I think this is really important. We really want to know what district teams need. So we want our project overall to be relevant to districts. And part of the way we're doing this and doing the planning is to utilize district teams to really tell us what they need and what the best way is for them to receive information, and how can this be done, in a way that will make it easy for districts. Next is identify effective methods of communicating AEM concepts and with the district personnel. And then creating brief instructional awareness videos and providing AEM resources to district personnel. So I think if we can do these things in 2022, we'll be off to a solid start. Now, I think I'd like to just kind of turn it over to any stakeholder group members or even members of the state leadership team. I don't know, I might start with David Baker. I can see you on my screen. I can't see very many people, but David, I don't know if you would like to give this group any kind of an update, or, talk to them about things, future plans, or what you think, where we're headed as far as you're real involved in all the AEM work as well. So I don't know, do you have anything you want to share with this group right now?
Yeah, I'll throw out a couple of things here. I'm a little hesitant too. I've thrown out a couple of things, and my timeline has been all screwed up. So anyway, long story short, I mean, Missouri Assistive Technology has been involved in issues around accessible educational materials for a number of years, more so from the AT angle, the assistive technology angle, since that goes hand in hand with this whole subject. But one of the things that we were going to start beefing up that ties in with this is trying to do some activities to sort of just raise awareness and some of the foundational skills around this whole subject for school districts. And the two things that are on the block on the list right now is to sometime here, I'd hope to have this going. Now I'll just say sometime after the beginning of 2022, try to do a maybe one or two quick little 15 to 20-minute webinars per month addressing a topic around this subject, like what are accessible educational materials, what are sources, some of these things that Kristen has already mentioned. And then from that group, begin to tie school districts together with each other, because there are some school districts in the state that do a very fine job around this subject. And then there are other school districts that are still kind of trying to wrap their brains around it. So if we can kind of start to establish a peer-to-peer network where they might start helping each other because they're might be able to share resources and other types of things, then I think that hopefully that will then begin to build just general awareness and understanding so that some of these other activities can have more heft when we get to them on our list of things to do with this entire project.
David, that's great. I'm glad you gave that update, and I'm really looking forward to those webinars. I think they'll be extremely helpful for districts, and with the short time frame, if they can just log on for 15 or 20 minutes, I think that'll be good for the districts, and I think it's really great. And I know some of our national colleagues and staff with the National AEM Center were real excited about hearing that you were planning to do those. And they were interested and even said they'd like to sit in on some of this. So, and of course, you probably already mentioned it'll be for all districts, regardless. It doesn't have to be our AEM districts, but it's for anybody who wants to sit in, and even members of our stakeholder group, if they're not in K-12, they'd be welcome as well, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody would be welcome. Anybody who needs to start to understand this whole subject a little bit more. And yeah, the idea was to sort of try to do this micro learning stuff that is kind of popular right now. Think LinkedIn Learning or something like that. That's kind of the model for this. And then the second piece of it is that, I always encourage other entities that have a vested interest in this to suggest topics or things that should be included in any of these types of little events. I'm not, sometimes we get a little caught in our perception through the tech program, and other people have different perceptions which are equally as valuable. And so as we get this launched, if people think of things that might be more germane or that I've overlooked, then I'm certainly open to all those suggestions as time goes on. And Jane, I'm kind of looking at you when I say that, since you guys obviously are involved in this and pay attention to it and have a little bit different perception sometimes on some of these subjects than we probably do.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I love the 15-minute videos. I think people need to get in there and do it, and just need a little direction of getting in there and doing it. I think that's a good idea. Kristen, you want me to give you a little update from outreach?
Yes, would you please? Thank you, Jane.
All right. We are slowly rolling out some low tech and high tech services to make materials accessible. Can I share my screen real quick?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Right now.
I need to stop. Maybe I need to stop sharing so you can.
Yeah.
Are you? Let me try to stop sharing here real quick.
Okay.
Was that working okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I see that. Okay.
We have we're putting out a product lending library. If a student's legally blind, they can get video magnifiers, handheld magnifiers, assistive technology software, low-tech and high-tech devices through the APH registry. However, if they are not legally blind, they can borrow, similar to MoAT, we have a lending library. They can borrow some magnifiers and low tech and even like toys and stuff like that through our lending library. Our second service is tactile and 3D maps productions. So we can make tactile maps for the blind. That's either embossed on paper, or we can make it more durable by printing a 3D map of a student's neighborhood or school, or yeah, most likely, you know, an area that they'll be traveling, where they may be going to work, bus routes and things of that nature. And then our last one is a 3D model production, where we are printing 3D models. And 3D models for the blind are things that are either too small to see or touch, or too large to see or touch. One of the things we did recently, three of the things recently that we've done is, one is like a tactile model of the virus. So what does a coronavirus feel like? The other thing we did was, our students are doing capstone, and they were at Cahokia Mounds. And we did a map layout, a 3D map of Cahokia Mounds, so they could see how and feel how the different mounds were different from one another. Like, you have this big mound, they go up these big stairs, but what does that really big mound look like? And some are more square and pyramid, and some are rounded, and their placement was done on a 3D map. We also did a 3D model of the arch, because they've been to the arch, they've been up the arch, they can feel the arch, they can see pictures of the arch, but to really understand the architecture of the arch, we did a 3D model of that. And then recently we just have we've had 18 requests for this, and it's on the right-hand side, which is a Braille finger guide. And this is another another example of low-tech device, but makes it accessible. And we 3D printing those, it got out, and we've had like 18 requests for those. So these are some of the devices, some of the services that Outreach is offering that can help make materials more accessible for our students who are blind and visually impaired. And we haven't rolled out this as a service throughout the state, because we've just been so busy with just word of mouth lately. So we hope to get that out soon, but the 3D maps are really helpful for students who are traveling. And of course, the virus was a big hit, you know.
Great. That is great, Jane. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that update.
Sure thing.
I'll try to put my slide back up there, but does anybody else have an update that you would like to share?
I don't really have an update, but this is DJ from Blind Skills Specialist. I just want to state that AEM is my #1 topic right now throughout the state. I am going everywhere and talking about how they can make their materials accessible for students, for all students. I mostly deal with visual impairment, but for all students. But I mean, this year alone, I've gone to 6 different school districts just to talk about AEM, and they're calling me to come in. I'm not going to them. I don't have time to call everybody, but they're calling me, and there is just such a need for this. So the little 15-minute segments, I mean, I've done like little videos for headings and alt text and stuff on my live binders, but what Dave Baker's talking about is really needed. So that's all I want to say.
I agree. Every kid has Chromebooks now, and it's surprising how many people don't know about the built-in accessibility features of Chromebook, or how to make even a mouse bigger and things like that. And those small but very profound details.
I had 20 people signed up for my Chromebook accessibility, which is pretty big for my little area. I had to cancel it because I had COVID, but I'm rescheduling it. So yeah, just understanding what's out there is, people just don't know. I mean, it's not that they don't want to do it, they just don't know.
Well, DJ and Jane, I'll probably try to get with you sometime after our meeting today, later this week or maybe later today, and just get more ideas from you, because that sounds really great. Are there any other updates? I know we've had an early childhood stakeholder group with the National Center. I didn't participate, but I know they had one, I think, last week. And then I think later on this week on Thursday is the, I think, combined workforce development and higher ed stakeholder group meeting. So I don't know if any of those stakeholder group members have anything to share right now.
Kristen, this is Pat Runge, and I am on the workforce development stakeholder group. And like you said, we do have a meeting coming up on Thursday, so we really don't have anything new to report from that group at this time, as far as I'm aware.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I think you reported on the last quarter's meeting, I think, from about 3 months ago. So
Right.
yeah, our meetings,
correct.
Yeah, they're all scheduled at different times. It's kind of hard to know exactly. Initially, I was going to try to schedule this meeting just after those so we could kind of talk about updates from those, but it's kind of difficult to get it all situated. Anybody else have any kind of updates that you would like to share? I'm going to try to share the screen again just to put this up. We'll just move along here. I just wanted to share with everybody some upcoming events. It's really the main event right here that I wanted to share is our AEM in-person district convening that, like I said earlier, will be held at DESE's Powerful Learning Conference at Osage Beach. It's at Tantera on January 24th and 25th. And this is the conference where David Baker will be presenting. He's got a breakout session on AEM, and then immediately following the conference, I think it gets out at 12:30 on Tuesday, the 25th of January, and then immediately following that, or maybe it gets out at 12 or 12:15. We're going to start up at like 12:30 on the 25th there, just for a couple hours to bring all of our district team members together. So we're looking forward to bringing them together and helping us to identify exactly, what they're looking for, what they need to see, how, best ways for them to handle it. But like DJ saying, they're hungry for this information, and we are looking forward to David's webinars coming up. I think this is the main event I have. Does anybody else know of anything coming up that you want to mention that of a conference or an event that might be of interest to the members of this group?
This is Jane. Power Up is coming up. Yeah, okay. I don't know how many details on that, but I figured David, you might help me out with that.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of hesitating there because it would be a shameless plug if it came directly from me, but I'm not
Right.
about shameless plugs. So anyway, yeah, and Missouri Assistive Technology for years has offered the Power Up Conference, which is focused on assistive technology and related issues. And it was on hiatus for a couple of years due to the pandemic, but we are bringing it back in 2022. April 4th and 5th are the two key days. And we unfortunately had to move it to the western side of the state this year due to issues with getting a hotel. So it'll be in Blue Springs. Right now, basically just save the date, and we will have registration and additional information forthcoming here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So, but April 3 through 5 would probably be the easiest way to remember it, and in Blue Springs.
Great. Looking forward to that. I know Power Up is always a great conference. It has so many different people attending, from so many different vantage points.
Yeah.
Districts are welcome to attend, and I know do attend. All different, positions and roles, and it's really consumers as well attend that. So I really enjoy it. It's my favorite conference that I've been able to attend. I have never actually attended Powerful Learning Conference, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So, and I've heard a lot of good things, and some of our districts were real excited to be able to attend Powerful Learning and have our in-person convening alongside this Powerful Learning Conference. So I'm hoping that will help draw their team members. Just a chance to go to a conference real quick. Does anybody else have any updates? Okay. I think that's all that I have for today, unless anybody has anything you want to chime in with, but I appreciate it. And just feel free to contact me at any point. You can call me or email me if you ever have any suggestions or questions. If you want to know more about a certain topic, I'll be glad to try to assist you or connect you with someone who has the information you're looking for. But thank you everyone for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And I'll look forward to talking with you in the 2022. So thank you very much and happy holidays, everyone. See ya.